Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We got something on the bench as usual. I start every video the same way. We're going to delve into this. It is a acoustic guitar that's had kind of a traumatic event. Let's take a look. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Let's get the camera lottery set here. What's under the cover? Let's reveal. What we have is a run-of-the-mill, cheap, entry-level acoustic guitar. Something's going on here, and it's right there. Yahtzee. This is brought to me, well, it was found. And I'm not going to tell you where it was found, but it was found. I saw it. They were going to get rid of it. Get rid of it. I think that we can save it and make it play. Only because whenever I see this kind of problem, I look at where it has broken and where the mating surface is, and I quickly evaluate, will it go back together, and will it, are we able to put it back together, and will it have integrity? Because people don't realize just how much tension that strings tuned to pitch put on the neck and the headstock and the saddle and the whole guitar itself. So what we're going to do is first take it apart, and then we're going to get rid of these strings, and we're going to get all the gear off of the headstock. And I'm going to really look at it closely because, as I said, I only looked at it briefly, and I said, I think I can save this guy. Even though it's a cheap guitar, it doesn't matter to me. I think we can save it and make it play, and maybe it'll be a good guitar for a young person to start off with. The only thing that we were missing is a bushing for that tuning machine. But being that this is an entry-level guitar, I'm not going to try to, and this one is damaged, but that's just a cover. At some point, I may look, if it goes together and it plays right, I may just get some better tuners and put it on there. If it holds. If it doesn't, then it's going to go back where I got it from, and they can dispose of it. So the first thing we're going to do is get these old strings off. They're not going to help us. They're not going to do us any good at all. Please be careful when you do this. These are very special flush cut side cutters. I use them to do this because I've tried every tool on the planet to pull these out, and this is the best one. And they're particularly interestingly and precisely beveled, and not only that, they're flush cut. So when you put it flat on something and snip it, it's going to cut it off flush. But the bevel and the way that it is tilted lets me get under these perfectly and pick them up, and it doesn't damage them at all. So that's my rant on how to pull string pegs on an acoustic. I have tried every tool on the market, the one you put on there and roll it across the saddle, and then, you know, after the first 100 times I did that, guess what happened? Yeah, one of the saddles broke. So I don't need that kind of aggravation in my life. If you're careful and you use these correctly, flush cut, small, 5-inch flush cut. I won't tell you the brand, but it's a mobile tool company, you know, that drive around in the trucks and go to dealerships and auto repair shops. Oddly enough, I used to be one of those guys. That's what that is. Before we do anything more with the body, I'm going to put that over here, and we're just going to take the headstock apart and evaluate things. That's what this video is, just really to evaluate and make sure we save all of our parts. Sorry about my head. Pretty simple stuff, basic. I'm going to take the tuners out and try to salvage this stuff. I don't want to put any money. A set of tuners on this guitar, if we replace them and put good tuners in there, are going to probably cost as much as the guitar did. Just to let you know. Yeah. So you don't need to watch me take out 12 little tiny screws and disassemble this, so stand by. So I started to take them all off, but these are so cheap that once you get them off, and when they're bolted to the headstock, they hold it all together. They want to almost just come right apart. So I only took the two off that are in the affected area. I'm going to tape them together to, for storage. And I see a new set of tuners in this little guitar's future, as long as we can affect the repair and make it a playable instrument again. And if we can, great. If we can't, at least we learned how to do this. I'm just putting a piece of tape on there to hold the guts in. One of the ferrules is broken, but it still, I might try to super glue that off camera just so it looks better on there. The other one was missing a ferrule or a bushing, call it what you want. I have one out of my junk pile, my personal parts bin. It's not a ferrule like that. It just pushes in. It's a screw-in kind that's supposed to go into a threaded piece. But it'll work. I can put a little dollop of glue on that and make it hold. The main part of this exercise is to see if we can make the headstock live on the guitar again. And that's what I really want to get after. Probably won't need that. I won't need that right away. Bear with me. All right, let's get the body back up here and really look at this closely to see the main thing when you look at these brakes. Now, if this was a Les Paul or something, I'd say, nope, stop right there. We gotta try to make it go back together. Yes, I understand that, but then you have to start drilling and routing out and putting in, call them, pegs to go in there, glue them in, sand everything down to build the integrity back. But for this exercise, I'm going to show you how these repairs are done, because most people look at this and they go, oh my God, that's it, throw it in the garbage. And that's what these people were getting ready to do. So the first thing is to see, can we get it to go back together? Can we? I don't know. I don't know. It appeared to me as though it would. And then if it does, all you have to do is get it lined up again. Sorry. Is get it to where it looks like that crack right there is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And yes, I think we're going to have success. I'm going to try not to break anything else that might be hanging. This one's going to give me, it's got a little too much. It's like putting a piece of a Chinese jigsaw puzzle back together. It'll only go one way. And once it's been apart, the wood tries to expand on you a little bit. You have to make sure there's no burrs getting in your way or hindering your progress. And you can see that it just doesn't quite want to cooperate. Now that I put it all back together, I should have probably glued it, because this is going to be a success story. I can already tell. All we got to do is get it glued together. Sorry about that. It wants to kind of push in that way. Now, are these kind of clamps going to work? Is the next question. Plenty of flat surface there, and plenty of flat surface there. Yes, those clamps are going to work. I'm going to try to get, and if they don't, I always have other stuff to use. What kind of glue? Well, it's just good old Elmer's wood glue. Good old Elmer's wood glue. And we're going to need a brush. Have a brush. Just do it. Because make sure everything's out of the way. I'm sure that these pull clamps, these are just regular run-of-the-mill clamps. They got rubber on them. I'm sure that is going to give us the grip that we need, and there's lots of flat surface, which is exactly where the break is. Break, flat surface, break, and flat surface. I don't want to lose my saddle. What in the wide world of sports? Stand by. Alright, so the key is to get as much glue on the broken surface as possible. Here and here. So we're going to start with this one. And this is just good old wood glue. Now, try to stay away from the edges, because you're going to get squeeze out up to it. And to minimize how much you have to clean, it doesn't need to be right up to the edge. But you got to get a fair amount on there. This is actually going to bind this headstock back to this neck. I am fairly confident that this will be a success story. And if this little cheap guitar can make music again, so be it. This stuff's forgiving. It's not quick bond. Here's something rattling around inside the guitar. God only knows what that is. And guess what? We're going to put some on the other surface. By the time I get this all painted up, it will be just tacky enough to try to put it together. Sometimes it helps to have another set of hands, but I don't have that luxury today. So we're going to do this together, and hopefully it'll be a good outcome. There's a big crevice under there, and I want to make sure we get some glue up under there. Looks like I'm putting too much on, I'm sure, but it's going to have a lot of tension on it. It's going to be a lot of squeeze out, I can tell already. See, under the crevices under here, man, it's important. That's where you want to get some glue up in there. Otherwise, that crack will reveal itself on down the road. Yeah. I'm fairly confident with that. The theory is, everywhere there's a break, the wood will go back together and glue will push into those crevices on its own. Let's hope that's what happens. Now, let's get lucky. The best way to do this you went in there once before. What happened? There we go. Definitely need another set of hands, but I don't have that luxury today. From tapping it before, it actually, I'm afraid of that. From tapping it before, it actually liked to go in there a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be out of camera a little bit, but got to get this tapped down in there. Liking that. Thing is, it wants to be held. It wants to be held and snuggled. Sorry if my head is in the way. Let's see what our reveal crack looks like. Ooh, it looks really nice. But I think it can look better. Yep. Feels pretty good. Got a lot of squeeze out up here. Let's see our crack here. I like that. I like that. Now, if we can get a clamp on it, right there. And right there. Yeah, we're getting some good squeeze out, and I need to get a wet cloth now. Stand by. Okay, we're back. Wet cloth. Probably don't need that much. Just to get as much of the squeeze out so we don't have to scrape as much next when we're done. Because this stuff will wipe all your squeeze out, should come right off with a damp cloth. And remember to get into the holes and get that cleaned out too. It ain't going to be perfect. Not for this exercise. This stuff does come off relatively easily later on, but you want to try to get as much of it off as you can. Get some Q-tips for that. Make the Q-tip head wet. That'll just save you a lot of sanding later on to get these bore holes opened up. Pretty standard stuff. Pretty standard stuff. Now, do we want to forsake the easy clamps? What is rolling around in there? Oh, it's got a tag in there. Do we want to forsake the easy clamps and put the better clamps on? Yeah. I don't know. I might be sorry if I do that. It seems like these are holding, but I think I want to put a little more clamping force on there. Let's try one and see what happens. Yep, I like that better. I saw more squeeze out. Yep, these just aren't going to have enough wallop. Same thing, didn't have enough. Didn't have enough. Oh yeah, more squeeze out. That means we weren't clamping it enough. And this is, at this juncture, it is imperative that you're clamping it together while that wood glue does its thing. Definitely a little more squeeze out came. I have to move over here a little bit to the end of the bench because I have to come out here and hang the clamps over the edge. Just to try to clean some more of that squeeze out. I think we've got it clamped where I like it. And I think we're going to leave it hang the other way. Just, yeah, try not to bang the clamps, Luch. I think this way it puts less gravity on it. I think we're going to have a success here. We're going to definitely have some cleanup to do where the the glue is coming out from the crack, but just running my finger across there, I think we're going to be okay wherever the crack is. And I like the clamping force that we have on it. Sometimes you got to just go, that's it, we're done. I'm not going to do any more with that. Adjust the camera angle. And this is the big, you got to hold on, not sure, and you got to sleep on it, because this stuff definitely you don't want to. You know, sometimes when I'm fixing little holes and I'm putting a little dollop of wood glue and I'm putting a when I'm putting a little dollop of wood glue to fill a hole, that's one thing. Okay, after an hour or two, you can go back and continue working. You need to let this dry 24 hours, minimum 24 hours with the clamping force on it. And then we're going to come back to it and see how it reacted. Once we get the clamps off, we can check and see if there's any flex or how much flex. I'm sure there will be some, but we don't know. Looks like one of our bushings fell out. Yeah, right there. Not a high quality instrument, but that's not what this exercise was about. This kind of damage can be saved more times than not. Now this is the easiest way to do it. You get lucky if you can do this and it works, and you get more playability and a little bit of life and extend the life of the guitar instead of throwing it in the can. But there are other ways to do this, and it's a lot more involved. This exercise was just to show these people were ready to get rid of this guitar. I think, and I'm pretty sure, pretty certain, and I'm hoping, there's a lot of hope in there that we're going to be able to salvage this, get it strung up, and make it play again so it doesn't end up in the garbage heap. Blackjack with 396 Guitars. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. We'll talk soon.